I took an oath to support, to defend the Constitution of America. But let me get on this disclaimer. This video is not for children. The majority of my videos on my channel are not for children. And the few that are for children probably are not for children. Now, in the beginning, I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution to the best of my ability. I see this, making this video, as a way of, as a passive way of supporting and defending the Constitution of America. This video is hopefully, to open people's eyes. Everybody's eyes. Now, the American Constitution currently, as of right now, as we speak, is failing. It's getting ready, it's falling. Now let me break this to you. I'm gonna make some bullet points here. How it is failing is basically people who are misled into believing that a certain group of people is basically keeping them down. No, it is not. It is yourself. It is yourself. If I can come from squalor, from doggone near squalor, if I can have literally barely anything to my name, literally like next to nothing to my name, and come up with things that come up and actually buy things that I actually want and not barely afford the things that I need, guess what? You can too. If certain members of my family with a felony can actually get the things that they need and want and do the things that they want and or need to do with little to no complications, guess what? You can too. What's your excuse? Oh, the man's been holding me down on foot. The man has been holding the foot up on every single American, black, white, and otherwise. Why can't you see that? Why can't you see that? It's not the man, it's yourself. But you push it on somebody else. Instead of doing an inward look. And the hatred between citizen and citizen, whether you like it or not, you're still a citizen, is not beneficial to anybody. I want you to look at your social security card. There's a certain number, there's a number that tells you your demographic, where you came from, your family, what your type of person your family was. Basically, it goes back for a while. They have records of who on how you entered the country, how many of your ancestors entered the country. And you know what? They plan accordingly. They plan accordingly to keep you blinded. There wasn't a true, the last true politicians in America died during Abraham Lincoln. The last true Democrat was assassinated. It's not just the bipartisan, the two parties. It's the Constitution. The two parties are one of the many root causes that is causing the Constitution to fail. It's one of the many root causes that is causing the Constitution to fail. We have, let's look at the root causes. We have these women, these females that calls them that I like to give them the moniker of domestic terrorist. Whether you like it or not, they're domestic terrorists. They've been so. They've been so for a really long time. The 1960s is where they performed their acts of domestic terrorism. Is where everything began to go downhill. There was true equality in the 90s. Whether you like to believe it or not, the domestic terrorists kept pushing, and they're going to continue to keep pushing. The COPPA Act is just the start of it. It's just the start of it. It's just a little experiment. The regulation of the internet is another form of constitutional failure, where they're literally going to put the nail in the coffin. Because feelings apparently outweigh more than facts. Outweigh the facts. And with that being said, this is why the Constitution's failing. The ability to speak up on certain matters gets you shunned, gets you ostracized, gets you doxxed. Think about it. Why haven't I shown my face? Why haven't I shown my face? What you don't quite understand is if I were to show my face, these people would make it difficult for me to live. I'm taking a risk by putting my voice out there. But it has to be done. Now, within the next 5 to 10 years, the Constitution is going to be nothing more than redacted pieces of letters. Men are going to be silenced. A lot of men are not going to be able to move or say anything out of fear of prosecution. Isn't that nice? That's really nice, don't you think? That we have fallen so far that we can barely do anything. I want you to take a look at the history. It's the Soviet Union. was a communistic part. Was a communistic. The USSR was an amazing. Was an interesting place. You know. Was an American. Was a mystery. So we spent all this time for nothing. Trying to beat back the Soviet Union for nothing. Trying to defeat communism for nothing. So, my grandfather, living almost well into his old age with PTSD for years, dying in a VA hospital with PTSD. It was all for nothing, right? My uncles, living for years with their injuries, was all for nothing, right? It kind of pisses me off, you know. But when I see the world today and see how close we are to becoming just like Venezuela, it's kind of, and North Korea and Cuba in the 90s, up to the point where they deregulated the border, where they decided to lift the embargo on Cuba. I find it quite funny. Does not maybe they lifted the embargo on Cuba because we're becoming a socialistic government. Welcome to the USSA, United Socialistic States of America. There isn't much that I can do. Running, you're going to run for office. I'm going to run for president. They're going to stonewall you. I'm going to run for governor. I'm going to run for office. They're going to stonewall you and railroad you. Every step of the way. Every single step of the way. And they're going to come out with a new epidemic, a new disease that has been genetically engineered to jack you up. I want you to really think about this. Do you think you stand a chance? Unless you understand the fact that half of the workforce, half of your co-workers, have to stay back and hold the line at work, and the other half has to hold the line in Washington. And we have to be able to let go of our hate for one another. Then, and only then, will you have a remote chance of making some sort of logical, legible change in the government. But the powers that be are going to, and the news media are going to continue to spew their biased message. to the citizens are going to continue to blind certain groups of people so that somebody can get their vote. Why? Because the only way to keep the wool over people's eyes on how bad it really is. Keep people blinded. You can literally move an elephant or a freaking tank behind their backs. The COP Act is just another shot at the Constitution. This new thing where it just basically solidifies that the domestic terrorists see men as inherently evil. That's all it is. This here BS with Gail. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. Her, like Oprah, doesn't believe in a positive black man. Oh, and the domestic terrorists, you know what? It's getting pretty bad. The domestic terrorists are silencing white people as well. So basically, the sooner black and white people can wake up and see the BS that has been planted in front of them onto their plates, the sooner that people in the Western worlds, in the UK, Britain, England, Sweden, America, and Canada can wake up and see the BS that is placed on their dinner plates. Oh, and it's directly on their dinner plates. The sooner they go back, these little snakes can go back in their little holes to hide. Let me tell you something here. These politicians don't care. They only care about how they're going to get their pension, so that their drug addict children can have drug money for the rest of their lives. What I am saying is, the only way to make change is to open your eyes. Is to open your eyes and see that you're getting used. The automation of equipment, the automation of machinery. You should be thinking on how to capitalize on it right now. I really think you should be thinking on how to capitalize on it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And jobs that were automated, the human being is going to fade from the wayside. The human factor. Because they're going to go on the full automation. The docks are going to be automated. The vehicles transporting are going to be automated. There's not going to be a single human being working. I would highly suggest you learn you start thinking of ways to capitalize on this. Because this isn't going anywhere. It's just going to get worse and harder to live. This is McTown to Win. I hope your eyes are open as to many of the issues and many of the failures that are coming according to the times. Signing off.